The Dean J Television Show. Hosted by Dean Robinson. And now, Dean Robinson.
It's time for Summit City Noise News. What's all this talk about magical Negroes on Drudge Report? AFP. Headline, Magical Negro, the racist cliche Hollywood won't drop. One trope in filmmaking that is sure to draw scorn from culturally aware critics is the magical Negro, a black character whose sole purpose is to help the white protagonist. Morgan Freeman is cited as an example of an actor whose on-screen characters have at times played the role of the magical Negro. From Whoopi Goldberg's psychic Oda Mae Brown in Ghost to Chief Gus Mancuso, played by Lawrence Fishburne in 2016's Passengers, it is a relatively new device with roots deep in the traditions of American storytelling. The term magical Negro was popularized by filmmaker Spike Lee, who said in 2001, he was frustrated that executives were continuing to employ the stereotype, naming and shaming the Green Mile and the legend of Bagger Vance. Blacks are getting lynched left and right, and Bagger Vance is more concerned about improving Matt Damon's golf swing, the Malcolm X director said. They're still doing the same old thing, recycling the noble savage and the happy slave, Lee said. All this magic Negro talk makes headlines as ABC TV prepares a series called Kevin Probably Saves the World, featuring John Ritter's son, Jason Ritter, and an alleged magic Negro character who helps Kevin, the white lead. Radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh shares alternative facts about Negroes imbued with magic. We have to go back to March 23rd, 2007. The Rush Limbaugh Show. Headline, Barack the Magic Negro Explained. Rush Limbaugh says, there was a columnist in the Los Angeles Times named David Ehrenstein, and he wrote a piece about Barack is the Magic Negro. He claimed that there is, in the black culture, this term Magic Negro. His point in this column was that Barack Obama is not authentic. He hasn't been down for the struggle. Plus, he's not been around long enough for people to know what he actually stands for substance-wise, and so white people who are supporting Barack are simply doing so to assuage their white guilt over the transgressions in the past in this country, such as slavery and so forth. So his theory is that Barack coming along, he's black, and that's all that matters. Nobody cares what he stands for. Nobody knows what he stands for. David Ehrenstein is a prolific writer and critic who often expounds on film, Hollywood, and LGBTQ issues. According to Los Angeles Review of Books, Ehrenstein started writing for film culture in 1965. His first piece, an interview with Andy Warhol. Ehrenstein was an early and fierce critic of presidential candidate Barack Obama. His Los Angeles Times essay titled Obama's Gospel Mistake, published on Halloween 2007, sharply addresses the candidate's clumsy and inconsistent attempts at courting the gay vote. Rush Limbaugh sloppily paraphrases David Ehrenstein's LA Times opinion piece called Obama the Magic Negro, published March 19, 2007. Ehrenstein writes, and what does the white man get out of the bargain? That's a question asked by John Guar in 6 Degrees of Separation, his brilliant retelling of the true saga of David Hampton, a young, personable gay con man who in the 1980s passed himself off as the son of none other than the real Sidney Poitier. Hampton discovered that countless gullible, well-heeled New Yorkers, vulnerable to the magic Negro myth, were only too eager to believe in his Baroque fantasy. One of the few who wasn't fooled was Andy Warhol, who was astonished his underlings believed Hampton's whoppers. Clearly, Warhol had no need for the accoutrement of interracial goodwill. But the same can't be said of most white Americans, whose desire for a noble, healing Negro hasn't faded. That's where Obama comes in, as Poitier's real fake son. Though it seems Ehrenstein likes Obama about as much as Rush Limbaugh does, his Magic Negro essay doesn't quite say what Rush claims. Rush explains Magic Negroes to his listeners to justify playing the song Barack the Magic Negro in regular rotation during the Rush Limbaugh Show, which is a talk show, not a music program. Limbaugh merely uses Aaronstein's essay as black meat for his own commercial political race baiting. The funny thing is that I remember listening to Rush playing Barack the Magic Negro back in '07 on WOWO AM. We have to flash forward 10 years, back to now, the present day, to hear WOWO host Pat Miller echo Rush Limbaugh in Fort Wayne. This is from the Pat Miller program on WOWO 1190 AM, Thursday, August 3rd, 2017. Pat Miller says, we have a recording.
Barack Obama was an empty suit. Barack Obama should be very glad that he was a minority. That's why he was elected. It's the sum total of his accomplishment.
Man, I disagree with that. I'll respectfully disagree.
Okay, then I'll respectfully stand by it.
Pat Miller respectfully says the only reason Barack Obama was elected president of the United States is because he is a minority. Rush Limbaugh says white people support Barack Obama to lessen their white guilt over slavery and other transgressions against black people in the United States. Limbaugh says Obama is black and that's all that matters. Miller says being a minority is the sum of President Barack Obama's accomplishment. This simple matter concerning Barack Obama, Magic Negroes, white guilt, and minority privilege exemplifies the casual, commercially supported racism broadcast on the regular by WOWO AM and FM in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Instead of exposing racist commentary on WOWO Radio, Wayne TV investigative reporter Alyssa Ivinson submits to being interviewed by WOWO morning host Charlie Butcher. Instead of asking about regularly scheduled racism on the Pat Miller program, WPTA investigative anchor Alexis Gray appears as a regular guest on the Pat Miller program. Instead of critically analyzing broadcast racism on WOWO Radio, local TV station newsrooms join forces with WOWO as partners in news. Aligning with WOWO AM allows Fort Wayne commercial TV newsrooms to exploit heavy-handed right-wing hate speech on radio while promoting their own lightweight TV newscasts, which are mostly weather, sports, and licensed viral videos. Pat Miller often says journalism is dead. That's because WOWO AM is where journalism goes to die. Police officials across the country are vocally denouncing President Donald Trump's July comments to police officers gathered in Suffolk County, New York, as encouragement for police brutality. Michael McEntee on YouTube. Headline: Trump encourages cops to rough up suspects. They applaud. President Donald Trump tells police at a gathering in Selden, New York, that they shouldn't be too careful when putting suspects into paddy wagons. And when you see these towns, and you see these thugs being thrown into the back of a paddy wagon, you just see them thrown in rough. I said, please don't be too nice. Like when you guys put somebody in the car and you're protecting their head, you know? The way you put the hand, like, don't hit their head, and they just killed somebody? Don't hit their head? I said you can take the hand away, okay? Chicago Tribune. Headline: Police chiefs across the U.S. blast Trump for endorsing police brutality. Police leaders across the country moved quickly to distance themselves from or to outright condemn President Trump's statements about roughing up people who've been arrested. It's the wrong message. Chuck Wexler, executive director of the Police Executive Research Forum, told Washington radio station WTOP. The last thing we need is a green light from the President of the United States for officers to use unnecessary force. Fox 35 Orlando. Headline: Police officer responds to President Trump's tweets. On the department's official Twitter page, Officer Ben Tobias with the Gainesville Police Department wrote, "The POTUS made remarks today that endorsed and condoned police brutality. GPD rejects these remarks and continues to serve with respect." Tobias said Trump's comments were a step back for community policing. Sergeant James C. works for the Fort Wayne Police Department's Community Relations Division, which includes Public Information Officer Michael Joyner. According to an August 3rd, 2016 Wayne TV report, Sergeant C. administrates the Fort Wayne Police Department Facebook page as the department aims to improve its social media presence and relationships with citizens. I get messages every day. We have people from all over the world looking at us, from Allen County to Dubai, she tells Wayne TV reporter Holly Campbell. Summit City Noise asked Sergeant C for a response to President Trump's speech to police officers gathered at Suffolk County Community College on July 28th. The Fort Wayne Police Department is not going to fall into that, Sergeant C says. C says he heard President Trump's controversial comments to police in Selden, as well as denunciations from numerous law enforcement officials across the country. Just go with what those guys have said, C continued. You don't need a quote from us. What does anybody care about what the Fort Wayne Police Department says about what the president says? I get messages every day. We have people from all over the world looking at us, from Allen County to Dubai, she tells Wayne TV reporter Holly Campbell. I don't speak for the Fort Wayne Police Department, says Sergeant C, seemingly oblivious to the community relations concept. This is all off the record, and I'm recording this conversation. President Donald Trump directly encourages police officers to commit unnecessary violent acts against citizens and suspects. President Trump promotes clear and present danger by promoting police brutality. Fort Wayne Police Department Sergeant James C. does not want to talk about President Trump's pro-police brutality comments to Summit City Noise because he is afraid he might fall into something. Even though Sergeant C. works in the Fort Wayne Police Department Community Relations Division, he says, I don't speak for the Fort Wayne Police Department. That is a ridiculous but official statement from the Fort Wayne Police Department. I shared my Sergeant C saga with Wayne TV News Director Ted Lynn. I told Ted I thought I was lobbing Fort Wayne PD a softball by letting them slam this Trump stuff. Ted told me, there is no such thing as a softball with you, team. I'm starting to think Ted Lynn gets me. Intelligent people have complained to me about how they can't understand my videos. Now recently, I've had two people tell me that they don't know how I feel about these certain issues after they watch my videos. They're not learning how I feel about this stuff. People want to know how I feel about these social and political issues. Apparently, all of these facts are getting in the way of people understanding how I feel about this stuff. In a way, maybe that means I'm a better journalist than previously thought. That said, here's how I feel about Donald Trump as President of the United States of America. I mostly feel annoyed by the presidency of Donald Trump, but it's really not Donald Trump who annoys me most. I'm annoyed by the fact that people have to believe in Donald Trump. I'm annoyed by the fact that people, the adults, the grown folk, still believe that political celebrities are heroes worth worshiping. I can tolerate this nonsense from the kids and young people. They don't know any better. People my age, old school, they should know better by now. I'm mostly annoyed by the notion that poor and working class Republican Christians believe a casino boss and reality TV star can represent them. The problem with believing a U.S. president represents citizens is that the U.S. president does not represent citizens. That's why we have a House of Representatives. The president is the chief executive of the departments and agencies of the United States of America. The president's job is to execute the laws, and some people when necessary. The president does not represent the people. The president has 3 standards to bear in this order. 1, maintain the union. 2, avoid a financial depression. 3, delay another nuclear conflict every day. As long as Donald Trump bears those 3 standards, the American way will go right about its business, no questions asked. If you saw the movie Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, you heard politicians arguing about disputes over trade routes. If you read the book Dune by Frank Herbert, you understand that controlling petroleum or spice in a desert cascades into control over the known connected universe. If you watch the NBC TV show Dracula, you know the Order of the Dragon controls planet Earth by controlling the petroleum industry. In real life, I call them the Lords of Energy, Finance, and Thought on planet Earth. The lords of energy, finance, and thought on planet Earth influenced President Trump's executive actions. President Trump's Secretary of State is Rex Tillerson. Rex Tillerson previously served as the CEO of ExxonMobil, one of the largest petroleum companies in the world. ExxonMobil is among the lords of energy on planet Earth. President Trump's Secretary of the Treasury is Steve Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin was a partner at Goldman Sachs. Mnuchin was an investment professional at Soros Fund Management, which is owned by billionaire Democratic Party donor and fundraiser George Soros. When billionaire Republican Party donor and fundraiser Sheldon Adelson invited the Republican Jewish Coalition to his Las Vegas Venetian hotel in February, President Trump sent Boris Epstein to the event to represent the White House. Goldman Sachs, George Soros, and Sheldon Adelson are among the lords of finance on planet Earth. Steve Mnuchin founded Dune Capital in 2004 to pump $500 million into 20th Century Fox films like Avatar, The X-Men, and The Devil Wears Prada. Mnuchin served as executive producer on several Warner Brothers movies, including American Sniper, Batman vs. Superman, The Lego Movie, Suicide Squad, and about 30 other major movies. Time Warner, News Corp, National Amusements, Disney, Comcast Universal, and Sony are among the lords of thought on planet Earth. Universal Music, Warner Music Group, and Sony Music serve as the musical chairs among the lords of thought. The lords of thought produce and distribute music and entertainment programming to shape local cultures and exert influence on human behavior. The lords of thought produce and distribute news opinion programs to drive consumer activity and establish social consent among citizens being governed. U.S. wars and conflicts in the Middle East and Africa maintain chaos that the lords of petroleum and finance use to acquire natural resources and control transport routes. The President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces, possessing ultimate authority. President Trump continues combat campaigns in Africa and the Middle East that were conducted by President Obama and 7 presidents before him. 8 if you count President Ford. U.S. military action is directly related to the global aims and goals of the lords of energy, finance, and thought on planet Earth. The lords of energy, finance, and thought on planet Earth use government institutions to protect their interests. They employ corporations to produce profits. President Trump presides over the departments and agencies of the United States of America in Washington, D.C. Some people say the D.C. stands for death cult. The president can do almost whatever he wants when it comes to running the Washington, D.C., as long as he maintains these 3 very important standards. 1. Maintain the union. 2. Avoid a financial depression. And 3. Delay another nuclear conflict every day. As long as President Trump properly dances those steps, the American way will go right about its business. Because the lords of energy, finance, and thought own the musical chairs. Maybe people celebrate politicians as heroes because deep down they realize a hero is an idol, and an idol is a false god. All you mugs out there that have to have your heroes, you can have them. While you're at it, you can keep your lords of energy, finance, and thought on planet Earth. I'll keep the Lord I've got now. That's how I feel.
Why are Wayne TV and the News Sentinel talking about an alleged former skinhead Klansman from Kokomo? Wayne TV says Shane Johnson was the former leader of the Kokomo skinheads, a subculture of white supremacy and anti-Semitism. In that life, Johnson covered his body in tattoos, many that showcased his belief in hate. Johnson began the lengthy process of covering the hate at New Republic Tattoo Parlor in Fort Wayne. Artist and New Republic owner Donnie Manco created the tattoo coverings. He began with coverings on Johnson's neck and will move later to his hands and throughout the rest of his body. The News Sentinel says Johnson, 25, a native of Shelbyville, was indoctrinated into the beliefs of white supremacy from the very beginning, with his father being the driving factor. A deleted Wikipedia page says the Identity Nation is a violent Christian identity hate group based out of the state of Indiana. It was founded by Reverend Wendell Johnson on March 23, 2012 in Franklin, Indiana. Upon the death of Reverend Wendell Johnson on December 6, 2012, the Identity Nation was taken over by his son, Shane Punchy Johnson. Living with his father in Kokomo, Johnson eventually became the leader of that city's skinhead faction. By 2013, he had successfully joined the skinhead and Klan groups together. On July 4, 2013, Johnson was involved in a melee at a concert in Kokomo, brutally attacking rivals and even an innocent black man who was there with his white girlfriend, with padlocks tied to bandanas. Shane Michael Johnson says, "There was a group of people repping a set that I do not remember. We were attending the concert when words began flying back and forth between their group and the one I was in. They didn't appreciate the attire and tattoos. Words escalated to a large brawl between them and us. After the brawl, I attacked the guy with his girlfriend who was standing there watching the fight. There was no reason for it. He was an innocent bystander." The rock and roll band Blue Oyster Cult, famous for the song Don't Fear the Reaper, performed at the Haynes Apperson Festival at the Kokomo Performing Arts Pavilion in Foster Park on July 4th, 2013. Sandy Pearlman's contributions to the Blue Oyster Cult are innumerable. He was there from the beginning, groomed the formative band for label readiness, became their manager, produced their records, supplied lyrical content and concept, and more. Sandy Pearlman is also the one who came up with the band's earlier names, Soft White Underbelly and Stalk Forest Group. The first came from a quote by Winston Churchill saying that Italy was the soft white underbelly of Nazi Europe. Blue Oyster Cult is a white supremacy-influenced rock band that used to be called Soft White Underbelly. Shane Michael Johnson says, "You are actually right in your research. It was Blue Oyster Cult, and that is why we like them." The Kokomo Police Department says Officer Ted M. Secrease was working a special detail at Foster Park on July 4th, 2013. People told police that there appeared to be a fight between a couple of white males and black males. Officer Spicer was flagged down by a victim who said the suspects were getting ready to go under the McCann Street Bridge. Officer Secrease made verbal contact with both males, later identified as Shane M. Johnson and Brandon M. Buckmaster. After receiving a short burst of chemical agent to the facial region and being tasered in the rear of his right thigh and to the right side of his neck by Kokomo police officers, Shane M. Johnson was arrested and charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, resisting law enforcement, and intimidation. "When I woke up in jail, that was it," Johnson says. "That was the moment when I was like, man, I'm going way downhill." Documents from Howard County Superior Court concerning the state of Indiana versus Shane Johnson say the public intoxication and disorderly conduct charges against Johnson, both Class B misdemeanors, are dismissed. Johnson pleads guilty to the charges of resisting law enforcement and intimidation, both Class A misdemeanors. Johnson receives 2 concurrent 1-year sentences, suspended with 24 days served. The News Sentinel mentions an innocent black man and his white girlfriend being attacked by Johnson. The Kokomo Police Department, Howard County Superior Court, and the state of Indiana make no such mention. The Kokomo Police Department supplemental report mentions battery intimidation suspect Shane M. Johnson and victim Kendra Wiesner. Johnson pleads guilty to resisting law enforcement and intimidation in Howard County Superior Court. The Honorable Douglas A. Tate says defendant Shane M. Johnson is to have no contact with the victim, Kendra Wiesner, and the 2 minor children involved. The only thing Wayne TV talks about is covering up hate tattoos at New Republic Tattoo Parlor. The News Sentinel talks about Shane Michael Johnson's girlfriend, Tiffany Gregoire, a native Georgian who accepted the white supremacist for who he was, although she did not agree with it. Gregoire, 22, made it a priority to find any possible way to cast doubts in the mind of Johnson to show him that his beliefs and his lifestyle were wrong. Gregoire is quick to say that Johnson is not all the way reformed. He still has his moments, ones he readily admits to. Shane Michael Johnson says, "I've been working with the News Sentinel and Wayne Channel 15. They have been documenting the process of my cover-ups and my journey altogether. I feel like coming out into the public and sharing some of my experiences and the journey of my change may inspire and help others. From what I see, you are more of an investigating type of news. I'm not sure that my situation would be in tune with what you do." But Shane Michael Johnson still talks to me about being interviewed by the News Sentinel and Wayne TV. Dean, I spoke about the Republican movement and how it's a more subtle message of exactly what we believe in. My words were, Republicans' message I've heard before, except the guys preaching it were wearing robes. My whole purpose was to speak out about how even the I'm not racist white people always gave us the nod. Most cops did, judges passed light sentences also, but at the same time, we had cops who would harass us, beat on us, etc., so I spoke about police brutality also. It's about standing up by exposing them and their way of thinking. That doesn't just include skinheads and KKK members. We received help from police officers, public officials, etc. That is what I'm trying to expose. What you read in the News Sentinel is what he chose to write. Shane Michael Johnson and Tiffany Gregoire admit that Johnson is not all the way reformed from being a white supremacist skinhead. The News Sentinel calls Johnson a former white supremacist. Wayne TV calls Johnson a reformed skinhead. Johnson says he is working with the News Sentinel and Wayne Channel 15. Johnson says Summit City Noise is investigating type of news. It's not every day that a brother in Fort Wayne gets a compliment like that from an alleged former skinhead Klansman from Kokomo. That's got to be good for something, right?
White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.
Try to recall Barack's white mama.
White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.
Y'all done forgot Barack's white mama.
Yo, people, this is your president. Got some of y'all believing I'm heaven sent. Black people rise up and down for my cause, giving some Caucasians occasion to pause. Don't be worried, my snow white friends. The 08 party's not about to end. I'm living on taxes and Afro sheen, cause all I want is money, united under green. White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.
Try to recall Barack's white mama.
White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.
Y'all done forgot Barack's white mama. I am so in love with you. I know you can't stay mad when I kick it like that. No, you can't stay mad when I kick it straight black. Yeah. People can't get mad just because I'm getting money from the African Americans for Obama. No, people. Look at all the people around me. Vice President Joe Biden, he's a big effing deal. People, what about my boy John Corzine? MF Global ex-CEO. Yeah, people giving me all that cash so I can get my second wind. Oh, yeah, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. White people, break it down. Ow! Yeah, Leon Panetta, he's a white guy, yeah. Timothy Gardner, he's a white guy, yeah. Got all my white peeps up in here. Ow!
White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.
Try to recall Barack's white mama.
White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.
Y'all done forgot Barack's white mama.
Yo, people, this is your president. Yo, people, this is your president. Yo, people, this is your president. White people for Obama.
Say what's all the drama?
White people for Obama.